Hey guys, this is Bruce of ConvoCourses. Sorry I'm starting late. I usually try to do these on Saturday at around 1:30 is what I'm aiming for. But let's get started. This is ConvoCourses podcast. I try to do these every week. And let's just get right into this. I want to introduce you guys to a new course that I have right now. It is for Federal Privacy and Control Compliance. It's a mini course, not very long, not very expensive. Try it out for free. Check it out. Sign up. And it's really focusing on a risk management framework person doing information system security officer work. From their perspective, what you would do to actually do a privacy impact assessment. And I just want to show you kind of what is in this course. If you are interested in it, I just have some questions about people wanting to be a privacy assessor or just conducting a privacy assessor or whatever. So what it does is, first of all, starts off with the controls. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a breakdown, like a quick breakdown of everything that's in the course, so you have a very strong idea what's there. But at a high level, it's got an introduction that talks about the actual controls. It's talking about how privacy controls fit in the 800, NIST 800. It talks about privacy threshold analysis, privacy impact assessments, and SORN, and also has templates that you can download and walk through where I actually write privacy impact assessments and the threshold analysis so that you can see like what's going on. It has downloadable samples, things like that. This is just for somebody who is kind of thrown into this job and they don't know like what to do. This is going to walk you through exactly what to do. It's a mini course, so it's not expensive at all. It will be merged in the future with other courses, so you have like a bundle and things like that. That's the plan going forward. But what I want to do right now is kind of walk you through what's in the course so you know exactly what you're getting and just kind of give some free training out here. All right, so this right here, what you're seeing is the families of the NIST controls. There's two or three different versions out here, but the most current one has individual participation, or IP. While they were in transition, going from NIST 853 Rev, I believe it's 4 to Rev 5, they had a transition where they would call it individual participation. Now it's called something different, but I just wanted to kind of give you a breakdown of the history of what's going on with privacy controls. Really, it's pretty consistent. So what you're seeing right here, actually, let me move my face real quick so you can get a full picture of the screen. Bear with me. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So what you're seeing right here is, make the screen bigger, is all the controls that they've kind of addressed over as they've been transitioning from Rev 4 to Rev 5. And like I said, they've gone through a couple iterations, and they've finally landed on one. This is not it. This is the old one. Rev 4 is the old legacy version of it. You got IP, SE, TR. What do these mean? So you've got consent, individual access, redress, compliance management, privacy, incident response. So these are kind of things that are put in here. They've kind of changed this since the Rev 5 controls. Now they're called PT controls, or PII and transparency. And these kind of address the same things you saw in the old controls, which is like things like consent and transparency and privacy notice in the SORN. You see all those things in the PII and transparency. So PII means personally identifiable information, and it's things like names. It's a combination of like your full name, your mother's maiden name, an alias if you have that, social security number, passport number. Basically, if somebody can combine all this information, they can gather more and more information on you. This is a very easy attack for people to do because in the United States of America, they don't really protect our information very well. The federal government's trying to get a better job at this, but private organizations really do a very poor job at protecting this information. But what I want to show you next is the controls. And again, the controls cover many of the things that you saw in the old versions, things like consent, privacy notice, system of records, things like that. So in the course, we actually go into these documents in great detail. where we're walking you through these, but this is just introduction. The document we go through the document authority, like what's that all about. We go through the purpose of PII. We go through, and each one of these is the controls, the PT controls. We go over consent. What is that? We go over privacy notice, when you need to put those in there. We go over the privacy, the PII being maintained by the Privacy Act, system of records, and we go into compliance. Now, the compliance process, this is something that us as system security officers might have to interact with. It's things like the privacy threshold analysis. We deep dive into that, and we give you downloadable samples. We walk you through it, all that stuff. We go through privacy impact assessment. That's the next thing that you need to do. And then system of records. When would you have to do system of records? That's another one. And then we go through like review. What do you do with review? Another thing that we cover is, sorry about that. Another thing that we cover, and I don't know why it keeps doing that. Oh, it's actually connected to a page. Okay, let's skip it like that. Okay, privacy threshold analysis. We go through all the components of what is a privacy threshold analysis. We're going through that and give you an example of how that works. That's one of the things that we're doing. And essentially are identifying the systems that have privacy issues. So privacy impact assessments and privacy threshold analysis doesn't happen on every system, right? Privacy threshold analysis only happens on systems with PII. So you need to do a privacy threshold analysis to determine which systems have personally identifiable information on them, and then what kind of personally identifiable information that do they have on them to determine if you need to actually do a privacy impact assessment. So, okay, let's go through this. So privacy impact assessment, what is that? This is an analysis of how data is collected, stored, and transferred. So what we're trying to do is say, okay, now that we have some idea of this system definitely has PII on it, what are we doing with that information? And we're trying to make sure that if this information is collected, how are we protecting it? And that's kind of what the privacy impact assessment is going through by asking a series of questions that we go over in the actual course if you're interested. A SORN. What is a SORN? A system of records notice. And when does the organization need to actually implement the system of records notice? It's not for every system. Not all systems have to do this. Normally, if you have if your organization has a searchable database, this is when you would need a system of record notice telling the public what information is collected on them. So that's what a SORN is. We go in much greater detail and have some samples so that you can absorb how to actually do it. Another thing we go over is the EGovernment Act of 2002, some of the actual laws and things that you have to be mindful of at doing privacy impact analysis. We go over that. We also go over some of the differences between, say, the EU and the United States and some of the other regulations that are out there. That's pretty much what we're covering on the privacy impact analysis. And it's something that I've been working on for a while. And it's something that I think is really necessary, because the thing is, I got thrown into doing stuff like this, and I always wanted to have it. I thought to myself, man, it would be great if somebody just explained at a high level what is going on, and then go deeper and give me samples of how to actually do this. And that's pretty much what I do in the privacy impact analysis. So if you're interested in that, it's a ConvoCourses, and just search for the Federal Privacy Control Compliance course. It's out there. I think it's pretty good. Haven't seen anybody do any of this stuff, so I just thought, man, it would be nice if somebody broke all this down. It would be really cool. And the price is, as usual, the price will go up because I'm going to continually put some information on there until I feel it is finished. But what happens? So as people ask me for more and more information, or they say, hey, Bruce, we need more information on say privacy impact analysis. I didn't feel like I want more information on that. What about this? What about that? I usually will, if enough people ask, I'll put that stuff in the course itself, so it actually expands the number of hours of video that you can read. And also there's downloadables as well. All right, so I want to get into some questions. I get a lot of questions on ConvoCourses, and I like to take the time to actually respond to some of these on a video. Let me start off with somebody asked, do you do any training? Okay, I think they're asking about blockchain training because they're specifically asking about cybersecurity study in 2021, blockchain threat intelligence. No, I do not do any blockchain, any kind of blockchain training, and I don't do threat intelligence training yet. Those are two things that I would definitely like to provide on ConvoCourses. The threat intelligence one in particular, those are things that in the far future I definitely like to do. Let me see, what else do we have? I think there was another one about training. Somebody asked, ISO Risk Management Framework Foundations course overview. Where can I get it? Okay. If you are interested in the ISO and the Information System Security Officer Risk Management Framework Foundations course, then you can find that on ConvoCourses.com. If you look in the description below, you'll see a link to this site. And this is kind of how the site looks. This is actually the site right here. And I just want to show you the collections that we have and what is going on here. It is on this page. Just search for it. Pretty much this first one right here, Risk Management Framework, Information System Security Officer Foundations. It's an introduction to what goes into a risk management framework, and it will help you greatly, especially if you're in DoD Risk Management Framework IT, which is heavily based on Risk Management Framework NIST 800 series. We go over mostly NIST 837, but we also cover NIST 853 to some degree. So if you're interested in that, go ahead and check that out. Let me see, what other questions did I have here? Somebody said, Bruce, do you have experience with the SCAP tool? Yeah, I definitely have experience with the SCAP tool. SCAP tool is the SCAP tool, and there's another one called the SCC checker tool. And essentially what they do is it's a script. One of them is the SCC tool is, man, I'm getting this wrong. I'm gonna just Google this real quick. What is the name of this tool I'm thinking of? Because this is a super important tool. I recently used this tool for a contract that I was working on. Let me see. It's SCC checker. It kind of goes hand in hand with that SCAP tool. Okay, here it is. I found it. Okay. Yeah, here it is right here. It's called the Security Compliance Checker Survey. Well, no, it's not the survey. It's actually Security Compliance Checker. And it's this little script that'll run through, say if you have a desktop, it'll tell you if the system is compliant with Department of Defense standards. It'll go through all the CCIs, Common Control Identifiers. It'll go through all the security controls that the Department of Defense or DISA is expecting, and then it'll give you like this little report of what is missing. Like it's actually going into the Hive files and figuring out what is patched and what is not. And so it's a really cool tool that's used. And then the SCAP tool helps you out with that too. And here it is right here. The Security Content Automation Protocol. I can never remember the name of this thing. But SCAP tool, this is it. Yeah, I would actually like to do a video about how to use it, like a walkthrough. And in the past, control correlation identifier. Man, okay, I got that totally wrong. But this is something I would like to do a walkthrough on and explain to people how to actually use it. And I just feel like that would be very helpful to do. So one of these days I would like to do that. I don't have the tool with me right now. So if I was to try to do this, I'd have to first of all, find where I can get the tool. Because in the past, I don't know if they still do this, but in the past, you couldn't get this unless you had a CAT card, a DISA CAP card. But let me see if they've changed that. STIGs. Let me see. Nope. Don't know if they SCAP Tool, supplement automation content. No, I'm not seeing the actual. I see SCAP, but maybe I could just do SCAP because you can download that one. Okay. Anyway, yeah, I have used, to answer your question, I have used it before. And what you would do is you get the first step you do is get the STIG viewer. A STIG is a Security Technical Implementation Guide, and that is basically a breakdown of all the controls you're supposed to have on a given system. There's security implementation guides for Windows 2010, security implementation guides for Windows 2008 and 2000. Any kind of very popular operating system or application will have some sort of a STIG that walks you through all the best practices that you're supposed to do to secure and harden that particular software. So that is, and then what happens is the SCAP information content is a breakdown of all the features, every single CCI, and a CCI is a correlation control identifier, and it is breaking down. Oh man, I'm like freaking all over the place here. It's breaking down everything that you need to do on that particular system. So it'll tell you, let me give you an example. So Windows 10 will have its own security implementation guide. Like, it's a document that you can like read through line by line to see what you need, features you need to put in. The SCAP tool, it's not a script. It's an XML file that has all the data broken down in the parts, and you can feed that into an application like a STIG viewer that'll show you all the instances of what you need to of what you're going to need to secure on the system. And then the STIG tool will allow you to one by one go through and fix that system if necessary. So that's what it is. I definitely want to do a video about that because I think it will be extremely helpful. And let me see if I have any more questions here before I let you guys go. Man, when I do these late, there's like nobody here. I got to do these on time. I just had so much stuff to do. Let me see. I'm looking for some questions. I get so many questions, and I try to keep ahead of these things every week. And some of the questions that people ask are so helpful to other people, then that's why I do it. Because normally I get one question twice, 2 or 3 times. That means hundreds of people want to know that same answer, typically. Okay, let me see. Somebody asked, IT jobs like this require a polygraph testing. And I was talking about security clearance in IT. I was talking about jobs that require security clearances. So to answer this question, it really depends on the job. Not all clearances require a polygraph testing. So a polygraph is a lie detector test, and basically what they'll do is they'll ask you a bunch of questions to see if you're going to answer truthfully, and that while they have a lie detector. And it just seems pretty extreme to me. I don't know why the government does it, but I've heard that they do it to test out how truthful you are, and then also what your moral values are. And they do that by asking you like really weird questions, like really, really obtrusive, really wild questions about your personal life. That's polygraph. Lifestyle polygraph is where they're asking you about your lifestyle. Like, that's how deep it goes. Like, who do you have sex with? What gender do you have sex with? What, like, personal questions, right? That may or may not be able to incriminate you if you step out of line. It's really out there, guys. So no, you don't do polygraph tests for every single security clearance. There's a few kinds of security clearances out there that IT will ask. Number one, not all IT jobs require security clearance, but the security clearance that you do have out there, normally for data that the organization has, is very sensitive. The more sensitive it is, the higher the level of security that they will require of you. But anyway, the lowest one that I've heard of is just a basic, it's called a public trust. And I know that There's some financial institutions do those because they're dealing with sensitive financial information. Who else does those? People dealing with like moderately important information, will do like a public trust, a public trust security clearance. And then the next one that I know of is a secret clearance. But if you guys know any that are in between this, just let me know. But there's a secret clearance, and that one does a background investigation, an SBII investigation on you. That where they'll not only are they they're asking you is all these questions about your entire life, like in the last 10 years or something, or 7 years. And they're in some cases they're actually interviewing people who knew you in the past. And then above the secret clearance, you have the top secret clearance, and then you have different kinds of top secret clearances that allow you to access certain types of information. And then you have this top secret clearance with a polygraph test or lifestyle polygraph test. So those are kind of the rungs that you have to go up: public trust, security, secret clearance, I should say, not security clearance, secret clearance, and then a top secret clearance, and then a top secret clearance with caveats, and then a top secret clearance SCI with lifestyle polygraph is, like, as far as I know, the highest one. But then there's one called like Yankee White, which is like protection of the president, and then there's probably other ones above that, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea about those ones. Okay, and I'll just answer this one last question here. Cybersecurity, privacy sector is the video, and somebody said, I might have already answered this one, but I'll go ahead and answer it again. What do you recommend starting out your career? I'm new to this field, accepting a consulting position, and was recently offered a government position. The volatility of the private sector worries me, but the pay is definitely better. I'll also be able to get my hands on way more, like you said. Okay, for somebody starting out, I would recommend whatever they are offering. Whatever they're offering that can give you the most experience, that's going to pay you the best. That's what I would do. I would not be picky in the beginning for a government position, a public position, or a private position. Public, the difference being public means like they're serving the public, like a federal job, a state job, where you're doing, like, say you're doing cybersecurity for the Department of Revenue or Department of Motor Vehicles, or it's a service that's providing a service to the public. And then private means like Google, Microsoft, it's a privately owned organization. So there's a big difference between those two. I get this question a lot because those are the two areas that we cybersecurity people are getting jobs in, either public or private sector. And the question is, which one do I believe is best for a person starting out? And like I said, two things. How much experience are you going to get walking away? You want to get as much experience as possible. So if they take you in, they're like, look, we're going to train you, or we're going to give you on-the-job training on firewalls. We're going to train you on the IPSs, the IDSs. You're going to get hands-on on doing pen testing. You're going to go with the pen testing team, and they're going to be a journeyman, and they're going to apprentice, and they're going to train you how to do that. And then we're going to do forensics. Like, if they're doing all this stuff, like just naming random examples, but if they're doing all this stuff, you definitely want to be on board if you're new, because that is going to ignite your whole career. So you definitely want to do something like that. All right, guys, I think that's it. I'm going to end this one